City Council meeting of December 11, 2018. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and remain standing for the invocation? Ready to begin.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
To remain standing. Howard Keller is quoted as having said, "When one door of happiness closes, another often opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we don't see the one which has been opened for us." A good thought for everyone. Let's pray. Most gracious Father, we thank you tonight for this opportunity to serve our community. We thank you for those that are in attendance and living at home. We pray your blessings on our community. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you. Thank you, man. Roll call. Councilman McDonald? Here. Graham? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Candia? Here. Day? Here. Mayor Martina? Here. Action report from the closed session. And with that, I will move on to item 5, report on canvas of vote. A, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, declaring the results of the municipal election held on November 6, 2018. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. The San Jose County Clerk Registrar of Voters has completed its canvass of the election results for the November 6, 2018 consolidated election. The city has received the statement of results and the certification of said results. Based on the official results, Bob Martina was re-elected to the office of mayor for a term of 2 years to expire in November 2020. Casey Graham and Nick Candia were each re-elected to the office of council member for full terms of 4 years to expire in November of 2022. The vote totals can be attached on the attached resolution and corresponding report from the county. At this point, staff recommends that the City Council adopt resolution number 2018, next of number, a resolution declaring the results of the municipal election held on November 6, 2018, and direct the city attorney to administer the oath of office to the newly elected officials.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2018, next in number, declaring the results of the municipal election held on November 6, 2018, and that the city council administer the oath of office to the newly elected council members.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Item B is oath of office for newly elected council members.
Okay, if I can have the newly elected council members meet me out front here. Okay, so if you please have you each raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Congratulations.
But last time you didn't say anything.
I know. That's why I made sure.
Can we just take a few minutes break?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the mayor.
Again.
It was fun. I just kidding. It's a lot of hard work. You can ask the gentleman that ran. It's just a lot of work. It is well worth it. And God, I tell you, it took so long. Something's wrong with our system for them to finally get the results. I mean, you got these undervotes, overvotes, everything else. But it was exciting, and it was. I'm sure Dean will tell you it's been a long time since we had a mayor's race in Newman and council as well, but anyway, it was fun. Anyway, with that, we're going to get back into session, and I'll shut up. Okay, we're going to move on to 6, which is declaration of, conflicts of interest. Have none. There being none tonight. We'll move on to 7, which is ceremonial matters, and there's none tonight. 8 is items from the public, non-agenda items. And anyone who would like to speak to the council, please step up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Carrie Thompson. I live at 737 Black Mountain Lane. I'm here tonight. I have actually 3 items that I'll quickly wanted to bring to your attention and maybe get a little more clarity on. It shouldn't take too terribly long. October 30th, you had a citizen who came to the meeting and appealed to the council regarding the dog feces on Sherman Parkway. And at the time, there was no solution that was really able to be offered. So I've been noodling it over for a while. And I recall when we first moved to Newman some 18 years ago, or shortly thereafter, that when there were juvenile offenders or others that could use some other sort of creative disciplinary tasks, they would set about town pulling weeds, abating blight, that type of thing. And I thought that might be a something to consider, to use some of our otherwise distracted youth. Maybe give them time to focus and clean things up a little bit. Be a nice way for them to show their appreciation for the community. Along those lines, my second item that I had questions about is, again, about Sherman Parkway. The first few feet of that area is landscaped, and the rest has been, I don't know if it's in transition or what the situation is there, but at one time I was, heard rumor of possibly replacing the landscaping with a hardscape, maybe a paver and tree rings to clean up between the sidewalk and the street, to eliminate the need for irrigation and things there that would also help deter some of the dog droppings and things that go along there. You know, it's a high-traffic area. It'd be nice for us to be able to show some cleanliness and order along that corridor. And my last item that I really kind of wanted to bring to your attention and maybe tickle some brains about is the closed donation bins that we have, like the ones down at Nob Hill. They're currently graffitied and frequently are pilfered for their contents. I don't know how often they're maintained. I don't know the ratio of contributions or donations that they receive from there that are viable. But with the onset of the change in weather, with the current news headlines in Northern California city where there was an unfortunate circumstance related to them, I wanted to ask the council, is there anything that we can do about them? I just don't know that they're really helping at this point, and I'm concerned for there's a renewed interest in serving the homeless here in town. And so if we have a way that the community can donate in a more efficient way, I would look to the council or the city to kind of provide that guidance, because there's a lot of information that is very diverse and not necessarily efficient. So those are my
It's
three
a
items.
wish list. Yeah,
So,
well,
anyway.
as you know, we can't take any action, but.
I understand. It's more for your
Take a
information
look
and to
at
do
some of
with
these items.
this.
Some of them may not apply to the city. I think the fact that.
Private property. Yes, if I could address a couple of them. On the Sherman Parkway, I know our Public Works Director, Mrs. Reyes, is coming up with a plan right now that uses rubberized bark on Sherman Parkway with some plantings and strategic plantings in some areas. So that is actually in the works to beautify that corridor. She's actually working on that already. And then the clothing bin, again, that's on private property. These bins are on private property, so we can't go in and take them. They belong to somebody and they're on private property, so we have issues with that. I know, like, I've talked to the manager at Rite Aid, and she wants them off their property, and no property owner really wants them, but there's never a contact number on these bins, so you can never figure out who owns them. And so that's the real challenge right now, is trying to
Yeah,
figure out
there
if we can
used to be
get...
one by City Market, if I can interrupt. There used to be one near City Market, and that miraculously left.
Because that was on public property.
Oh.
See, so if it's on public property, there's a way to get rid
Yeah,
of it.
I see.
But when it's on private property, it becomes a civil matter, so now you have someone's personal stuff on private property, and it becomes more of a civil matter as opposed to a governmental problem. If they were placing them on our sidewalks or in our public right-of-way, then either ourselves or Caltrans would have the authority to have them removed. So that's the challenge that we're facing right now with those.
So then, yeah, if, like I said, if there could just be some sort of guidance given to the greater community on some sort of direction as to where to go with the change in weather and the holidays.
Yeah, you know, in many of our faith-based communities, you know, accept donations and are very helpful with the less fortunate members of our community with both housing and food. So if you do have donations, you can talk, if you're part of a faith-based community, you can talk to that community, or you can reach out to some of them, and they're out there. They have the food pantry, I think, is in Gustine, so there are some groups out there. Maybe we can try to reach out to them and get a better list so that we can hand it out to City Hall. But that's something we can work on.
That would be helpful.
Can I just suggest something to you? You might want to do a little homework with this, is that if I can remember correctly, because my wife and daughter, they would take clothes to those little boxes. And I think at one time, the Salvation Army or either Goodwill, had names on some of those boxes. So you may just want to, check and see if they still, are the ones that...
The ones she's speaking of, they don't have anything on them. I looked because they were all open. I was going to call and say, hey, they've been busted into, come clean them up or do something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
don't
there
know
was
if
nothing
if
on
they
it.
are, maybe just check with them and they make them tell you, that we used to have it and now so-and-so are the ones that are putting them out. A little homework, but-
I understand. So, okay. Thank you for your time.
Anyway, thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Yeah, some of those items, I'm sure,
Yeah, those ones are like completely just...
need to be taken care of. And anyone else in the audience would like to speak to the council? If so, please go to the podium, state your name and address for the record. There being no one, then I'm going to close the non-agenda items from the public and move on to number 9, which is consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of November 13th, 2018 and November 27th, 2018 meetings. D, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, accepting the Measure L, SB1, and CDBG annual project as completed, and authorize the mayor and the city clerk to record the notice of completion with Stanislaus County. E, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, declaring a shelter crisis pursuant to Chapter 48 statutes of 2018 and Government Code Section S8698.2.
Make a motion, we approve the consent calendar as is.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Next item is 10, public hearing. A, adopt resolution number 2018, next number, declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
Thank you, Mayor. So tonight we have a public hearing for a public nuisance. This nuisance has been declared under Chapter Ordinance number 95-4, which really talks about property maintenance. And there's also a second piece to this is the keeping of non-household non-household pets in the city limits. So this property has been abated several times. We've brought the copies of the letter to you, the accurate address is 1109 Fresno Street. It's been a property that we've continually had to work on. So we're back with you before, asking you to abate this item again, as well as to, through the abatement process, having non-household pet animals removed, because there are no farm animals in the city. We did receive a letter today from the actual person who got their abatement notice issued, the tenant at that house. As you can see, the letter has been submitted to you. We believe that this is still a public nuisance, and we still request that you abate it. If you so choose to move forward, what we could possibly do is still give one more last notice. If you choose to move forward, we'll give her one last notice to abate it, to remove the non-household pets. And if it doesn't get compliance, then we'll move forward with it. So, I know our city attorney has also seen the letter, and she may have other comments. But at this time, that concludes my report for you.
Have the pictures.
Yeah, I think we have some pictures here.
Is she new to Newman?
I haven't personally worked on it, but we've been working on her for over a year, so.
Because I guess my question would be, is she aware of the
Yes,
ordinance?
where the animals, yes. There's been pigs there in the past. Our former community service officer, we'll give you a little background here.
We've been working with this resident since I've been here, 2017. Prior to that, the community service officer with PD has also cited this resident for having, prior to this goat, she had 2 chickens, a rabbit, a big pot-bellied pig, and was made aware that all these animals were not allowed. She has gotten rid of the pig and some of the animals, stating that she needed them for medical necessities, but then turned around and used them as consumption or other means. So this resident is well aware that we need more information on her behalf if that indeed is a medical necessity to have those animals. I've made many attempts to reach her personally. That doesn't quite work out. And I've made attempts to notify her via letter, standard, regular, and certified.
Her letter mentions a contact to her medical organization. Was that ever accomplished?
Correct. The medical, I visited the property tenant there. I explained to her the need of a renew letter. She turned one in 2017. I explained to her that we still needed more information. Upon that contact with that resident, she stated I contact her medical provider or her doctor. I contacted the medical facility itself, who then gave me information, not on her, but on the letter itself and how they did not provide those types of letters anymore. I can show you that letter later.
That's okay.
Yeah. But the medical facility was contacted, not regarding her personal information, but more or less if that was still a continuing letter.
Okay. So they don't provide those letters anymore?
According to the Golden Valley facility, no.
Okay. And she's been given 3 warnings already?
Correct. She's actually
Written
been
warnings?
given a written warning, a first 10-day abatement warning, a second 10-day abatement warning. So she went through a 7-day just written warning, verbally as well as letter, a 10-day first abatement notice, another 10-day abatement notice. So she's been given more than a month and a half to remediate the situation.
Okay.
So what is the actions that you take on one after all the notices have been resolved?
Generally, it's an abatement, removal of what has been there before. Prior to this, we've done weed abatement, so we'll go in there, clean the property. I'm assuming we would do the same with maybe possibly removing the non-household animals that are there. She has stated she has cleaned the feces that was left along the property. In the letter, she's continuing to state that she might leave it there to keep the grass or weeds from growing. I don't know if that's an alternative to not having a lawnmower. But that would be a situation. Moving on in the future, given first a warning, once again saying, hey, if you don't comply, this is what might happen, us remove the animals. That would be something we would be looking to. Removal of the non-household animals, which would be the goat, the goose, and possibly the chicken, unless she submits some type of written formal letter stating that she would like to keep the chicken for eggs and her personal consumption upon approval of the city manager.
And when was the ordinance put in place for non-household pets? Do you recall that? It's been a while, right?
It's been a while. I'd have to look back at the...
Okay, so it's not anything new?
No.
In the 90s.
Okay.
Any further questions from the council?
I'm not seeing the medical letter. I looked through it a couple times, maybe I
Yeah,
missed that. What was the medical letter in reference to?
We wouldn't provide that because of HIPAA issues
Right.
and some of the other stuff
But-
over there, so, but what, we had one, we considered it expired, indicated to the property, the tenant, that the new letter was needed.
But what was the letter in reference to, or like,
Or health or what?
It was an emotional support animal.
but she is not up to date on those, and she doesn't need 3 emotional support animals, right?
We don't have a current updated letter
Right.
that indicates that any of the animals on the property are emotional support animals.
And the health provider didn't refuse to provide one.
Right. I apologize, but your suggestion, you'd given us a suggestion?
Yeah, we just asked that, our recommendation would be to move forward tonight, provide for us to allow for the abatement. We'll give her one last opportunity to succeed with the abatement of it. If not, then we have your approval to move forward.
I'm sorry.
What timeline are you looking at, just out of curiosity on that?
I haven't sat down with our CSO yet to look at that, so we'd probably work with our legal counsel to probably work out what our legal counsel felt was an appropriate time frame for getting that done.
Right. I'm just throwing out numbers, so I really don't know. Could we give her, like, if you go do it, say, hey, you have 2 weeks, I'll give, my view is give her permission to abatement, give her a couple weeks to say, hey, maybe your doctor doesn't do it anymore and she's trying to find a new doctor, to legally give her the right, but say 2 weeks if you don't have a letter done.
Yeah, so, she's had appropriate notice to, if she needed it, she could probably get it,
Right.
but you're probably right, like, the reality is we're not gonna get anything done during the holidays anyways. So we'll probably give her to about, just after the first of the year, but again, we'll work with our legal counsel on this, she wants to advise right now.
So in my discussions with staff, that's basically the line of thought that we were thinking is, as the city manager mentioned, giving one last chance for the tenant to take care of the situation voluntarily, and also make clear that the city isn't saying that it doesn't care if this is a support animal, but that she has the burden to provide that documentation. It's not the city's burden to seek that information out. And if that documentation is provided, that's a consideration, something that could be taken into consideration, but short of that, there will be sufficient time for her to work that out.
Because I think what Case is really saying is that, are we going to give her enough time to make those transactions happen? To where,
And you gotta remember.
That's what's recommended by the city
And we will,
attorney.
but just moving backward, she's already had over a month.
Right.
So if somebody really wants to get it done, there's been appropriate time up to this point.
Yeah.
But again, based upon legal counsel, we're going to continue to give a little bit more time to meet that request. And again, it's on the tenant to provide that information to us, not us to go out and seek it. And then so after the first of the year, we would be moving forward with the abatement if the council so chooses to take that action tonight.
My concern is, are we setting a precedent here? I really hesitate to offer an extension, if you will, to an abatement when are we opening ourselves, and I guess legal counsel will have to answer this, are we opening ourselves to this kind of thing continuing no matter what the abatement is?
My only view on it is she's had a medical letter in the past. I'd like to make sure that we give her every opportunity, because she might have gone through a doctor and they might have said, well, yeah, we'll get it to you, and then, you know how medical offices work. We've all been through them. And then they came back and say, we don't do that letter anymore. Now she has to find a doctor that can do it. Just to be fair, just say, hey, you know what, it's been approved for your place to be abated, and we'll take care of it in 2 weeks. Unless you bring in proper documentation.
I don't believe staff's requesting a protracted amount of time, so it won't take, we wouldn't give her 6 months, even 2 months or anything like that. But under the circumstances, if the concern is that you're opening the door to future situations like this, each case is slightly different. And in this case, because of the circumstances and the information contained in this letter, we'll work with staff to determine an appropriate amount of time, but making it clear that the city won't extend, because the council's if the council directs it, the city will not extend any further time frame for her.
Okay.
And Councilmember Day, I'm sorry, just other abatements, just generally, once the council takes action to get things moving, there's generally a period of time. We don't just go out the next day usually. It just takes a little bit of period of time. And we try to work with the property owners as much as we can, so.
I understand that, but we're making it a specific statement at this point, and I just don't want that to become a precedent. I'd also like to state for the record that Ms. Mendoza has been doing an excellent job in the abatement process, and we appreciate her continued good efforts.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
No, your documentation is very good. I think
Yes.
we have a trail like that we can follow, and it
Yeah,
gives the
definitely.
council information that we need to make the right decision. But thank you, Ellie.
You're
Appreciate that. And any further questions from the council? If not, this is a public hearing, so I'm going to open up to the public for any comments. There being none, I'll bring it back to the council for direction.
I move that we adopt resolution 2018 next number declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
I second that.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Helen. 11, regular business. A, adopt resolution 2018 next number, receiving and accepting the general purpose financial statements and transportation development of act audits for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018.
Evening, Mayor, council members. For the last several months, the CPA firm R.J. Riccardi Incorporated has been conducting an audit of our 2017-18 fiscal year. Michael O'Connor from that firm, who's the lead auditor, is here tonight to present the findings of that audit. Once he's completed his presentation, staff recommends that council adopt a resolution accepting the general purpose financial statement and Transportation Development Act audits. So, Michael?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. I am here to present the financial statements for the City of Newman for the year ended June 30, 2018. Please feel free to interrupt me with questions at any time. So there's just one report of financial statements that I'd like to go over. I'd like you to turn to page 1 of those financial statements. Page 1 and page 2 are our opinion on the financial statements. It is on our letterhead. We do work for the City Council. If you ever had questions of myself or anyone at my CPA firm that I work for, our contact information is there. So you could feel free to contact me if you ever have any questions. This audit opinion is what's called an unmodified opinion. It's the best opinion you can receive. There's no modifications or qualifications or issues. Everything was done in compliance with professional standards. Next, I'd like you to turn to page 14. Page 14 is your statement of net position for the city as a whole. It has your governmental activities and it has your business type activities. Business type activities are water and sewer. And this is a snapshot as of June 30, 2018, which has passed. So it's as of that date. The last line at the bottom is your total net position. Your governmental activities had over 24 million, almost $25 million. And then you have over $18 million in your business type activities, water and sewer. And those are your assets exceeding liabilities. That's your net position. Next, I was going to turn to page 15. Both these statements on 14 and 15 are done on a full accrual basis, similar to a for-profit company. So this is your statement of activities, and it shows all the summary of activities of your revenues coming in and expenditures going out. It starts on the left with expenses, since governments are in the business of providing services. They first start with the cost of those services. Then there's certain revenues like grants and fees and charges that come against that. And then at the bottom, it has general revenues, or the amount that are really subsidized by taxpayers and other sources of income. The third line from the bottom, on your governmental activities, it looks like you had about $500,000 of expenses exceeding revenues. So your net position dropped almost $500,000 from the previous year in governmental activities. The next column over, proprietary activities or your business type, you had an excess almost $1.8 million of excess of revenues over expenditures, so your net position increased quite a bit from last year in your business type activities. The next page, page 16. Page 16 is your balance sheet of your governmental funds. And these are done on a modified accrual basis, which is almost cash basis. The second line from the bottom, I just wanted to point out, your general fund has, $2.7 million sitting in the general fund as of this date. And then you have some other funds. You have almost $5 million in the CDBG fund. And these other funds or money is designated for special purposes. The Public Facilities Improvement Fund, you have almost another $5 million there. Storm Drain Fund looks like it has a deficit. The other fund column, there's a bunch of other funds the city have, and they're consolidated in that column. And you have $2.5 million sitting in those funds. The detail of those are broken out in the back of this report. Next, I want to turn to page 18. So page 18 is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances. This is also on a modified accrual basis. And it shows your revenues coming in and expenditures going out for each fund. The third line from the bottom, for your general fund, you had excess revenues of $35,000 over expenses, and they're pretty much positive going across. I mean, you have a small loss in CDBG, but you have a large revenue exceeding expenditures in Public Facility Improvement Fund, but mostly positive going across, except for the other funds too. Also has an excess of expenditures over revenue of a little over $200,000. But that's all I wanted to point out in this report, just those highlights. Behind these statements are notes that give you more information about the city's, its accounting policies, its capital assets, the debt that the city has, your pension plan. All that information is in those notes in the back. But that's all I wanted to point out.
Thank you. Any questions? No. Sounds like we're financially sound.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate hearing it. It gives us a good, warm feeling.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It's my pleasure to do the
Thank you,
work.
Mike.
Lou is very easy to work with and his staff, and they do a really good job
Great.
in accommodating us and maintaining their accounting records.
Thank you so much.
You're in good hands.
That's why we locked Lou in, I think, they locked him in, he can't go anywhere.
See, Michael thinks he's number one, but actually Lou is. Because he's the one that gets the money, and that's where it all, always follow the financial part of the business, bottom line.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thank you. Now, Michael, you're okay, I'm just kidding. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And, okay.
I'll make a motion. Yeah. We adopt resolution 2018, next to number, receiving and accepting the general purpose financial statement and Transportation Development Act audits for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018.
Second.
Okay, a motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. B, adopt resolution 2018 awarding bids for hexavalent chromium CR6 water system project, well drilling and sleeving phase to NorCal Pump and Well Drilling in the amount of $589,403 and authorize a notice to proceed.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. This is a project that we've been working on, going through design, and we have an opportunity right now to actually drill the hole for well number 10, which is part of our booster pumps and tank water project out on Jensen Road. We have a grant to pay for $400,000 of this piece of the project, and then the balance of this piece of the project will come out of the loan that we're in the works of obtaining for the remainder of that project. We put the project out to bid in October, and we received 2 bids, responsive bids. One was from NorCal Pump and Well Drilling for $589,403, and the other was from Zim Industries for $624,867. The engineers analyzed the bids and found that NorCal Pump and Well Drilling is qualified to perform the work, and their bid is acceptable and complete, and they recommended awarding the bid to NorCal Pump and Well Drilling. This part of the project, once we award this bid, if you do so tonight, this part of it will be constructed in January, February, and then in the meantime, as they drill that hole, they'll analyze what they find in the test hole, and then they'll design the well, and we'll put the rest of the project out to bid to be able to construct the tank and the pumps and bring the lines into town to provide better water quality and more stabilized pressure for the community. Staff recommends that you award the bid for the hexavalent chromium CR6 water system project, the well drilling and sleeving portion to NorCal Pump and Well Drilling for the amount of $589,403, and authorize the notice to proceed. And I could answer any questions.
Just curiosity, well number 10, does that mean we have 10 wells in our system now?
So the way the state and the county permit wells is way back in the day, you started off with well number 1. And that may have been many, many, many years ago. So you never use that number again because there's records that are very old. And so then that well, we still have well number 1 here. And then well number 2 may have been a well somewhere else that's been abandoned, or it could have been a test well because they use those numbers. So right now we currently have well number 1, well number 5, well number 6, and well number 8. Well number 9, I believe, is the test hole that we did in 2017 or 16 to identify a good location for well number 10, which will be a producing well for the city.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question. Once that process starts and they're looking in terms of bringing water into the city, how long does that process last? I mean, is it a year process?
From start to finish, we anticipate 18 months to where we are producing water from that well through the tank, through the booster system, and meeting on Fig and Hardin and using that water.
They will use the same thing for the Crow Landing project.
Any further questions? We'll bring back to council for direction.
Move to adopt resolution 2018 X number awarding bid for the what they said, chromium 6 water system project, well drilling and sleeving phase to the NorCal Pump and Well Drilling in the amount of $589,403 and authorizing notice.
And I'll second that. Okay, motion's been made, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Okay. Okay, regular business number C, adopt resolution 2018 next number, authorizing the city manager to sign an agreement with the University of California, said to conduct the Wetlands feasibility and to amend the 2018-2019 budget.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This is an exciting opportunity that we'd like to share with you tonight. So back in 2014, we bought that land from a local developer, with the intentions of having a biofilter to kind of clean up our storm drainage, to capture some of that water, clean it up, and then reuse that water out of our wastewater treatment plant. And we've been searching for some grant money and some other things to get it done. I've talked to some previous people, but it was Catherine who stepped up and delivered and got us a meeting with the University of California at Merced, and introduced us to some professors. We started sharing our ideas about what we envisioned for this property, and their faces kind of lit up, and they said, wow, we can do that. So tonight, we're looking at, we have a feasibility study proposal in front of you, but don't just look at it as a feasibility study proposal. It's also, a potential long-term relationship that we could be establishing with the University of California at Merced. So what we're asking them to do is, it's kind of laid out in our, in their proposals. They're going to go out and assess the site. They're going to sample the water, the storm water that's going through the area, and also some of the ag water that goes through there. They're going to determine what constituents are there, what kind of plants are out there, what kind of soils are out there, and then they're going to create this feasibility study to say, does this even work? I mean, this idea, this crazy idea that Newman has, is it feasible on this property? And they're going to come up with an answer for us. And then if it does, and all signs point that this is going to work, then they're going to come up with some design issues, and then come up with some design problems that they could come across, and then help us solve those ones, and then ultimately kind of give us a preliminary blueprint on where to go forward with this particular project. This project is going to incorporate students at UC Merced. They're going to come out and do some of the sampling, and they're going to do some of the testing of the soil, identifying some of the plants, and this is about a 2-year project that goes along with them. So we're very excited about that. But again, as we talk to them a little bit about it, share that we want this to be a community amenity. We're going to want, trails out there for pedestrians and environmental education, and their eyes are lighting up because they see all the possibilities for students coming out here and doing senior projects or graduate work out here or PhD work out here, or people leading environmental tours for school-age kids and teaching them about the processes that are actually taking place out there. So we're excited to present this to you tonight, the feasibility study phase. And again, there's a full proposal in front of you that comes up with, again, some ways for this project to be implemented, their final recommendations, and identification of some of the issues that could be done out there. Is the cost is just under $180,000 for a 2-year project. But some of that is paying for the students to come out here and some of their time and sponsoring some of them. We have 2 professors they're actually looking at this, but they're also bringing some other professors on board. So we're going to get some PhDs looking at this, and I think it's an exciting project. And I was just talking to Catherine about it. If you elect to move forward, we'd like to talk to UC Merced about putting out a press release about this. This is going to be a huge project for us. I think in the long term, the city of Newman partnered with UC Merced, creating an outdoor laboratory right here in our backyard, and then creating a community amenity that people can go out and exercise and walk around and do some things, birding, some of the things that I witnessed when I was in college, who had a similar type of project over there. If they bring some of that here, it turns into be a community asset really fast and easily. So with that, I can answer any questions that you have tonight. Again, we're asking you to adopt a resolution that would allow us to move forward with the feasibility study, but also amending our budget for this year to reflect the costs that we're going to, and the funds that we're going to be expending. So with that, I can answer any questions you may have at this time.
If it is approved, what is the timeline on this, Mike?
So for this phase of it, we're looking about 18 to 24 months. And some of that reason is we want to go through some full rain cycles. Because when the rain comes down, it washes everything off the streets. And so we need to really understand what kind of contaminants, pollutants, and other issues that are coming down the storm drainage system, and they're going to end up in this property, what are we really going to be working with? Same thing goes for ag. The ag cycle that comes through, the irrigation water, we get tailwater that's coming through here, we're going to want to work on some of that. So, Councilmember, we're looking at about an 18 to 24-month process for this feasibility report.
And if it's approved, you're going to start next year?
If approved, we're going to start as soon as our legal team can work with their legal team and get a contract in place. But if you approve it, we're going to start, first thing we're going to do is start collecting samples for water. Each storm event that passes, there's information out there that we had, and we want to start analyzing that information as much as possible and get a big jump on this.
I guess the reason why I ask that is because we still have problems with mosquitoes in the city of Newman, and this might be a stepping stone in terms of them, maybe doing some research at the same time on our mosquito problem that exists in the city.
So one of the issues that we've talked about is vector control. Vector control is for looking at mosquitoes and other types of bugs out there. So that is ultimately part of the design that's going to occur out there. We've already talked to Turlock Mosquito Abatement District about our project in the past years. Mr. Heff, who's come before you before, he knows about this project. He wants to be included in this project because he has some BMPs, best management practices, some of the things that they would like to incorporate in that. So there's many aspects to it, but you're correct. Mosquitoes is one of the aspects that we're going to be looking at as we move forward with this project.
Great. That's great.
I've been excited for this project for a long time. After talking about it almost 4 years ago, you mentioned it, and it's exciting because the public trails that people will be able to go out and use and go through the nature for the schools, and now being tied in the UC Merced, that could be very beneficial in many different ways for our community. We just want to make sure that there's a lot of grants out there too. So I know you guys are really good with grants, but Fish and Game, they really develop stuff for waterfowl. There's a lot of money from them, and they'll even come in and do the work and plant the plants and do all the stuff. Coordination, and obviously the state water is a big thing right now, and hopefully we can grab some of that money to get this done.
And that's kind of our idea, is if you think about this, if we're partnering with UC Merced, they're doing the feasibility study, and they have other professors that are going to start getting involved and looking things, so they're going to try to bring in their own funding. And then just think of the credibility it adds to our project when UC Merced is attached their name to this particular project too. So City of Newman and the UC Merced are jointly applying for this to develop it. So I think it adds a lot of credibility to our applications as we go out and search for grant funds to continue some of the studies, the design, the environmental work, and ultimately the construction and implementation of this project.
That's great.
Outstanding. Love it. Bring it back to council for direction.
Move that we adopt resolution number 2018 next in number, authorizing the city manager to sign an agreement with the University of California, Merced to conduct a wetlands feasibility study and to amend the 2018-2019 budget to reflect that.
I'll second that. Okay, motion been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Great project, great project. Yes. 12, items from District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor, Mr. Jim DeMartini. Welcome, Jim. We meet again.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Martina, members of the council. I have a couple of things for you tonight. This, as you can see, is our this year's 2019 art contest from the West Side Healthcare Task Force. Last night, Mayor Martina and I went to the Newman School District and gave out the awards. There were 5 winners from Newman this year. I think there was a couple more last year, but 5's pretty good since there's only 12 months out the year. So the contest, I think, went real well. This year we had about 400 entries.
Wow.
There was winners from Patterson, Newman, and Gustine, so all 3 school districts did have some winners. The contest, it's a lot of fun, and the artwork really shows that the students really got the message there. Our theme this year was Get Healthy One Step at a Time, and that kind of combined, exercise and diet, and so we leave a little creativity to it, and we also had the essay contest too, which I'm giving out some awards. The last school district tomorrow in Gustine. What we're trying to instill in the students, and the lifestyle they have now is kind of sedimentary, and they're watching their telephone all the time instead of running around the track, and there's a lot of these fast food places there are not the best of food, so we're trying to instill the importance of diet and exercise, and if we can do that in kids in a young age, I think we've really accomplished something, because it'll prevent, diabetes and heart disease, hypertension, all kinds of problems that can affect you as you get older. So hopefully it does some good. I really think it does. The school boards are really on board with it, and it's a good program that we do. So this is our 10th year. And for, I know for the people of Newman, when they come in and pay your water bill or whatever, they have them right here in City Hall, and they give you a calendar. So we appreciate you distributing out our calendars for us. So, and they're also, of course, in Patterson City Hall and Gustine. Okay, task force meeting. We haven't done anything this month or next because of the art and essay contest. Our next meeting's February 7th, Hammond Senior Center in Patterson. There we'll be beginning our planning for our programs for next year, West Side Walks, Health Summit, that sort of thing. We have a presentation from Patterson School District on a program they have to get students interested in is to be a healthcare professional, and also a presentation from Doctors Hospital. So anyway, the public's welcome to that, and the meetings start at 6 o'clock. Crow's Landing Industrial Base, the board has certified the specific plan, not without some challenges, but excuse me, an allergy still bothering me here. But I think we can move forward there, and trying to work out these. Most of them can be worked out, and I'm not really too concerned about it. The county is going to put in $22 million initially into getting infrastructure in the park, which is water, storm drainage, and power, and a road in there. So 22 million will go fast, and we expect to put a few million more into that once we get that started. So in 5 years we've been working on this, spent $1 million on the environmental impact report. So anyway, we're gradually starting. We think this will be a good for the west side, and a place for people that work, so they won't have to go to the Bay Area for jobs. And then our board meeting today, yours went pretty fast. We did the homeless grant there from the state there, which I didn't think much of it myself, but the county spends $14 million already on homeless programs there with very little results. So the state says, well, the reason we're not having any results is we're not spending enough money. So they're going to throw another $7 million at us there. So we can get our spending up to $21 million next year. And so I'm really not very optimistic that that's going to be money well spent. We have a massive homeless camp there right next to Gower Winery. So the intent is to move them around the corner out into along the Tuolumne River. It's a really bad idea. But this issue, we really have to deal with it. You don't really seem like you have much of a problem here in Newman, but Stanislaus County does, and Modesto does especially. So anyway, sometimes money just isn't the answer. It's just how you got to get people off of drugs and alcohol and back in the workforce. And you cannot do that, and you can't accomplish that by just enabling them to live out in parks and just giving them free stuff and expecting nothing back in the return, and just not going to work. So anyway, that's an issue that we're going to be dealing with for actually all year. Okay, and that's all I have tonight. and unless you have a question about anything.
Well, I have a couple. One is that I invited, I forget your name, what's your name? Terry. Perry?
Perry, yes.
Yes, and probably you guys probably have seen Perry around town. He's one of our homeless here in town. And that basically, I think that money that's allocated for the homeless, for Stanislaus County, we need to start reaching out to people like our veterans. Those guys, I mean, some of those guys are walking around with degrees, just got taken down by hard times, and I think that, of course, the city of Newman, we're very small, but I think that a program like the one that they're talking about, if we could lock ourselves into it, we could possibly help and probably maybe avoid the homeless being here in Newman by being able to have certain programs in place to help them, at least get back up on their feet. And I've talked to a couple of guys where, and these guys were up there in Modesto, where these guys are veterans. They served over in Iraq. And I'm asking, kind of find out they got drug problems, and some of them got mental problems, but the key to it is that they don't know which way to go. And then, like you said, there's a lot of stuff out there, they're getting free stuff, and sometimes, that's not the answer, giving them stuff. They need some medical help.
Yeah, we have our departments out, in fact, even in the Salvation Army, the mental health department is out there now. And, I feel that anybody who wants help can get it already. I mean, we already spent $14 million on it already.
There's tremendous resources available.
It's not like we're not spending anything here, but just the state, wants to have us spend more, but, we don't even have a plan to spend it really that's that good. But there are people out there realistically who just want to live out in the street. They don't want to work. They want to be addicted to heroin. I mean, they're just fine with that. And, they're out in the street. I can tell you that in Turlock, we had about 70 people living under an overpass. So Public Works went out there, and actually the department head told me this, so it's not some low-level employee. And they said that they interviewed everybody out there, it's about 70. Took notes, and, talked to them. They said of the 70 people they interviewed, which is all of them, only 3 of them asked for help to get off the street. The rest of them, the department head said that they were just fine living out there. They had food, they had medical care, they got clothes, and they didn't want any help. They just wanted to live out there. And so that, you had to change that mindset. Right. And most of them were drug addicts, and they were saying, and that's a very difficult group to get back into the workforce. And unless they really want to change, we're not going to be successful if we spend $100 million on it. But some people do change. I've hired somebody who was formerly homeless myself to work on the farm, and he had an alcohol problem, I guess, and he was out on the street for a couple of years. But he got some help, and he wanted to change his life, and he did. And it looked like he has some potential. If I've hired him, he's been working for me for 2 years now. He's a good man. So we do offer help out there, just that the state just thinks that we just need to spend more. But putting a homeless camp up alongside the Colony River there is just, to me, and then this nonprofit, it's called Turning Point, it wants to get paid $500,000 to run this homeless camp. It's not even a camp, it's just tents out alongside the river. $500,000 for 6 months. That's one of the most outrageous wastes of money I've ever seen the county do. Absolutely thrown away. I was really opposed to it. I'm okay with programs that work, but not throwing it away either. Maybe we need something more results-based than that. But, it's an issue that all California cities have to face.
I have one last question for you. About a year ago, you had mentioned that you said Newman was one of your favorite cities.
Yeah, I love coming here.
So don't forget us when we talk about West Park. I mean, West Crow's Landing. When we talk about Crow's Landing. we're very excited about that project, and we know that there's a lot of issues out there, but we're looking in terms of Stanislaus County and the board, really moving this forward. We're excited
Yeah,
about
but we hope this will be a successful program. This is job creation, there's no housing, there's no trains or anything, and it is just, the purpose of it is to create jobs for the people that live here already. We don't expect this industrial park is going to draw people from San Jose moving into Stanislaus County to work here. We have a high percentage of people all around the county who commute to the Bay Area for work. If we can provide, decent jobs here and locally, they won't have to commute. And something like Keystone Industrial Park's actually a good project too. So we got the land from the federal government, and so we're willing to put some money into the project to see if it can benefit the people who live here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Did you have anything tonight for us? Oh, wonderful.
Mayor, City Council members, this last December 1st was our Christmas tree lighting. We collaborated with the Chamber of Commerce, the city and Newman Chamber of Commerce together, and we put on the Christmas tree lighting. I'd like to thank all of our departments who were there helping, keeping us safe, Public Works helping us, the Finance Department donating candies, gifts, toys, and Public Works as well, and all the departments out there. I'd like to thank all of our volunteers who were out there as well, keeping us safe, leading the parade. We had 4 volunteers here, 1 present, who helped lead that parade and make sure the roads were closed off and safe. I'd like to also thank our city manager, who helped donate candy for the Santa Claus and the children out there. And I'd like to thank the businesses overall. The businesses within the last 2 days, I went out there personally, spoke to every business on Main Street, and they donated, most businesses, a gift basket or a gift item. That donation was then received by us, turned around and gave back to the community in a raffle, completely free. So I'd like to take a moment to thank all those businesses who worked out there and helped us. A total of 33 businesses, and City of Newman gave 2 gifts and the Chamber gave 4. So it was a great event and overwhelming joy, and just being out there was amazing. The mayor here was out there, and he was able to witness some of the great things that happened out there. As for recreation, we are underway for basketball. We are actually in our 2nd week of practice, a total so far of about 220 kids enrolled in our basketball season. We will have practices until January 21st, and then resume them back on January 2nd. For our Christmas break, we will be off. Our first basketball game will be January 12th at Oristimba High School and Hunt Elementary.
Good job. I have a question for you.
Sure.
We were gonna, your wife was gonna come down and take a picture of the Christmas tree on the on the memorial lawn. And we noticed your tree was down. What happened?
Windstorm.
Yeah,
it was like a hurricane downtown.
I can answer that question.
That'll be in the paper too.
Right, we wanted to take a picture of that and make a Christmas card of it, but.
Outstanding job, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did a great
Chamber
job.
did a great job as
You
well.
guys all did, everybody
Great job.
involved did a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you, and our volunteers.
I thought the raffle was really unique. I know you put it together in 2 days.
That was
And
outstanding.
that was really special. I think a lot of people, they were kind of bewildered. They didn't realize it was free, but
Right.
it was a great idea, so. And I know you went around to all the merchants and collected all the prizes and stuff, and it was very, very nice.
Thank you. Hopefully next year we'll get more out there and
Yeah.
more for the
It
community.
keeps growing every
Awesome.
year.
It will, it will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, Chief, good evening. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, God, I went right by.
It's your meeting. Go ahead, chief.
How you thinking?
I'll defer.
That's why you got upset when I went to Ally before you.
It's your meeting.
You know something? I was really saving the best for last. Yeah. Okay, I apologize to the city manager, Michael.
There's no need to apologize. You run this meeting however you like. So I'd like to I would just like to echo the comments from our community liaison, Ms. Mendoza, and thank Michael Passarelli, and he runs the chamber. He does a great job. Miss Susan Mattos, who decorated the trees, she does a wonderful job out there, and Moonshine Dairy, which is Rich and Jackie Dite. They provide the lifts that allow us to get up into the trees and do that. With respect to our tree, the story is the reindeer got paid off by the smaller Christmas tree to knock it over because it was outdone. So you got to blame it on the reindeer that are out there. So yeah, so we had it cabled down because we had the high winds a few days before that, and we had it nice and cabled down. Public Works did a great job on it, and then the wind advisory left, so we were talking. During the daytime, the cables didn't look real great, so I go ahead and gave the order to just take them down, and if we get another windstorm that we're thinking is going to come up, we'll put them back in. Well, as you know, if you were around Saturday, this 3 to 5 minute storm that blew through and just tore up everything, including our tree. So, and then it was so wet, we couldn't get it back in that site, so we just relocated back up. But yeah, it was my decision to take those cables down. And,
That's what I heard.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I'll live with that for a while, so.
But the reindeer is still out there.
The reindeer's still out there, yeah.
Well, you couldn't.
Now, if we would have been quick and witty, we would have made it like a Far Side cartoon and make it look like the reindeer had actually pushed it down. And it had some cops out there arresting him or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Not that good.
Mike, you think of everything.
So, but last and foremost, Ally, our community liaison, has done a wonderful job. I mean, this is why we picked her, because in the last couple of days, she threw together a raffle, right, and brought all this value to the community, and they loved it. There were a lot of events, there were a lot of prizes out there, and it was free of charge, or just the community giving back, the business giving back to the community, and she did a great job on that, and that's why she's going to be a great asset to this community, as she's still learning the job, guys. She's only been on it like 3 months, and she's already bringing stuff like this. Just wait till she's been here a little while. Wait till we really see what we see. I mean, it's gonna be amazing. She also did a great job today. I hosted in December. I host a city managers luncheon at the theater, and we invite all city managers from the 3 counties: Merced, Stanislaus, and San Joaquin, and we invite all past city managers to show up. And Ally did a great job putting that whole thing together today, keeping Ferris in line and making sure that, it was a great event, and she was a big part of that, so very happy to have her here. With that, we have our CSO starts on Monday, the 17th, which is exciting, a local gal, just graduated from Stan State with a degree in criminal justice. So, being local, she's already got kind of a background in terms educationally, in terms of what criminal justice is about. She's taken some classes from law enforcement, and so we think this is going to be a good long-term fit for our community as well. And then lastly, so I've been working with the city manager in Patterson a lot, and so, in Patterson they have the host house, and the host house is in a house, a shelter for men, homeless men, trying to get their lives back in order. They want to do that. So they're doing great things over at the host house over there. So we're working on how we can partner with Newman and our police department, and if we identify people that are willing to go into that type of environment, then we're going to be able to take them over there and share host house with them and see if we can do that as well. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have.
Next year we'll leave the wires on the tree.
Yeah, and yes, we're gonna leave the wires on the tree, and I'm sorry, I forgot to congratulate Councilmember Candia and Councilmember Graham on your re-elections.
And you're not going to congratulate the mayor.
Oh, that's right. I saved the best for last.
Oh, yeah. You learned that from me. Just remember that. No, yeah.
And then Merry Christmas to you guys and all your families.
Absolutely.
So when, excuse me, Michael, so when you just spoke about the shelter, is that item number 9A that you?
Well, item 9A, that's what Supervisor DeMartini was talking about.
Right.
It's the state offering up some money to the county, $7 million to come in and put together some programs here in Stanislaus County. The intention at this particular point in time would be we already have a shelter established on the west side, and that's in Patterson. And you know, in my conversations with them, that's probably the most appropriate place on the west side. But if we can get together, focus our energies and support Host House and some of the programs they're doing, and our residents and people that are in our community that want access to it are going to be provided access to the services that are at Host House as well. So we'll continue to establish and solidify that relationship. If any of you want a tour of the Host House, please let me know, and I can arrange to have you get a tour of the Host House and all the programs that they're running over there.
I think it's important that we support that, but the key is they have to be willing to do it.
Yeah, and the Host House runs a really good program over there. They have some strict rules, but you know, they've really turned that place around over there, and they've had a lot of success stories that have come out of there already. So it's a really good program. So again, it takes good leaders in that program, and it takes people who want to be in the program to work together. You know, in the end, we're all just human beings and trying to live on this planet together. So the more that we work together, the better off we are.
And saying that, Perry, I'm pretty sure that Perry, he's homeless, and he knows probably other homeless people. And hearing that, I'm hoping that this information that was passed along to Supervisor.
Mine is that, you know, I'm already on Social Security. The cost of living here in town is so outrageous, not even funny. And two is that, I got somebody who owes me a lot of money here in town. And in government, no one's in government, somebody owes me a lot of money. We're still on music writing and other things going on. And I'm constantly being attacked by little hoodlums out here. Our storage is all messed up. Somebody trying to come into them. You know, this is out of control.
So,
you know, I could be, kind of a little hasty with real estate people going on around here, because I don't want to make money. Everybody wants to make money the easy way.
Well, in saying all that, Perry, excuse me, but in saying all that, what I'm hoping is that you probably know other people that are homeless, that maybe you can pass this information along.
Not really homeless.
Well, I'm just saying, you may know some.
Okay.
Right.
This is not
You know,
a debate.
All right, so,
I'm getting the word that these people ain't homeless out here. You know, a bunch of bull, go through politics.
Shut it down.
Sure.
It's not public comment.
You know, and
all right,
getting very expensive, and,
We shouldn't have comments.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay. So at this point, we want to just cut this off because it was supposed to be maybe addressed at the public meeting, but I just wanted to say this, you know, you're in our prayers, and that basically we're hoping that we could do more here in the city of Newman.
I know where else than here in town, somewhere right here in town, and they don't want to fill out those albums, and I'm the writer, and I haven't got a damn dime for it.
Okay.
You know, somebody cheating me.
Right. Okay, well,
Right here in town.
right.
we can't deal with that right now, sir.
And, you know,
Mike, there's also a lot of resources out there for, if the chief doesn't know, on the front lawns of the courthouse in Modesto, there's a reach out center that's kind of like a one-stop shopping center for all the resources available in the county: mental health, drug rehab, housing, you know, food stamps. It's all in one location, so you don't have to try to go here, there, everywhere. It's all right there. And so we can relay that to people that we have out here that might need
And
assistance.
that's part of the the county program focus on prevention that's getting out
Yes.
there, trying to consolidate all these services into a single point. It
Yeah, it makes it
You're
easier.
not chasing all these different ones. If you can just go to a certain
And-
place, it help you get a lot of
And they
that.
have that set up on the front lawn of 12th and I in a modular building,
Okay,
a
thank you
reach
very
out
much.
center.
The county's doing a great job
Yeah.
in reaching out to the homeless. But as Jim suggested, throwing money at it's not the answer.
No.
The people involved that use the programs have to be willing to accept the requirements of the program and want to get out of the homeless situation that they're in. And, you know, that's the key to the whole thing. You can throw as much money as you've got at it, and it's not going to solve the problem.
Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you. We're going to move on. Chief, tonight,
Evening, Mayor.
your opportunity to...
I'll give you a quick little update on our recruit candidate process. We finished up accepting applications. We had 11 applications, 7 of which are from Newman.
Wow.
And one a local, another just outside in Santa Ynez. So we kind of, what we wanted is that draw of that local hometown person, and I think we're going to hopefully find somebody to fill that position that
That's great.
fills that need for us. Somebody that'll stay in this community and wants to be part of this community.
Super.
So testing will be this Thursday, our first oral board testing, and then we'll move on from there.
Great.
Hopefully we'll have somebody before you, maybe early February, late February.
Great.
Looks good.
And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the chief? Okay.
I didn't have anything tonight.
You have nothing
Questions on
tonight?
our financials?
Oh, good job.
Happy to answer them for you.
Thank you. Catherine, do you have anything for us tonight?
Sure, thank you for asking. I just want to let you all know that CMAQ is out to bid. That is the project that will complete the striping on the road project that we just did, along with adding some additional sidewalks on Merced. So that's out to bid. You guys will, I'll bring the award of bid. Hopefully we get several bidders. There's about 4 plan holders right now, so I'm hoping that we have a good batch of bids to consider, and I'll bring that for your review in January. And that's about it.
Well, I do have a question.
Sure.
Hills Ferry. I know we talked about they're going to stripe it for bicycle at
Yes.
some point. My concern, if you're traveling south, I guess it would be south, on the south side that's closest to Sherman Park, there's so much area there for cars that are driving, it's really kind of confusing for a lot of the drivers. I don't know, because it's like there's 2 lanes that are really one. And I don't know, I travel that every day, and it's a little confusing, and of course, I don't know if there's anything that can be done about it, but I mean, it's almost like there's 2 lanes there, and we're using it for one.
So I believe part of the CMAQ project will stripe the bicycle route, which will break that width up, which will kind of delineate the path of travel for vehicles, and then have a separate bicycle route, and then have parking along the park edge.
Okay.
And it'll kind of break up that width, and so that's why it looks so wide right now.
It's what's difficult, if you're going south, like I say, and then you have to make a right turn, I mean, it's confusing. I mean, it's just...
You can really travel a lot across, so
Yeah.
hopefully this project will address that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Archie? Keith, you got anything for us tonight?
I just want to wish you guys a happy and safe holiday season, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
You guys doing a Christmas party?
The fire department? No, we don't have a Christmas party. We're too busy.
Did you tell him to say that?
Did he glance over his shoulder at the chief?
Casey, do you have anything for us tonight?
No, I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas
Okay, that sounds good.
and outstanding job on the tree lighting again.
Leroy, do you have anything?
Be the same. Wish everyone a safe Merry Christmas, and if I don't see you until next year, Happy New Year's, and God bless you all.
Nick, do you have anything for us tonight?
Nope, just Merry Christmas to everyone, and congratulations, Casey, and congratulations, Bob.
Okay, congratulations. Do you have anything for us tonight, sir?
Congratulations to our newly elected continuing staff of council members and mayor. And Merry Christmas to everyone. Be safe, enjoy your families, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. And the only thing I'd like to say, Casey, congratulations.
Same to you.
Nick, congratulations. And it was an interesting election. Anyway, I do have to mention, the Christmas tree lighting. It continues to grow every year, and it seems like more people are coming forward. The school got involved, and, I don't know, the lighted parade was really something special, and just so many parts of it, and so many people involved, so many active people helping out, and the decoration of the trees, all the city staff and people that have made it successful, like Ally and Jose and Michael Passarelli, and we have one person, I think, for the chamber. It seems like he's 10, but he's doing an excellent job. But anyway, all those volunteers did something very special that night, and I don't know if any of you, I know Casey, you were there, I don't know if anyone else had the opportunity to be there. Michael was there, but it was something special, I think, and it's going to continue to grow. And with that, I'm going to ask for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
It's not official.